So, because it's interesting, this whole mindset of the actor. Because there's certain really interesting questions, like, I don't know whether that's Peon's Tale or Pion's Tale, asked this question on Twitter, very similar to Ghost of Dystopia. Hello, Pion's Tale and Ghost of Dystopia. They were talking about how conscious you are. Do you think about every gesture and expression, or do you just let it happen? Does the body language come naturally to you, or do you think about it a lot? And certain things on the film, certain gestures are very clear and striking. Are you aware of those, or are you just kind of doing them in the moment?
Not at all. In fact, when I watched it, I was like, okay, you gesture a lot. You know, I think the older I get, well, maybe not the older, I've always been a bit quite physical, you know. Mm. I think of things sort of words. I love words, you know. And I think of the way you sort of express a certain type of word is, I don't know, sometimes helps me with the wordness of the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
You know?
Yeah, I do.
And but when watching Seawall, I'm not many actors are, but I'm not very good at watching it. And
watching yourself.
Watching myself, and
yeah.
So when we saw the screening first, I mean, I was like. When it was on the screen, that screen is terrifying. And
Max Frisch,
yeah,
I'm going to interrupt you with the theatre. Max Frisch was an astonishing German, actually Swiss playwright from the 30s and 40s and 50s. Said one of my favourite things about acting. Said the stage actor, especially, is the only artist who necessarily can never see their own work.
Yeah.
If you think of it like a painter can see their work in progress, when I see my plays, I go and watch them. A novelist can read their own books. The actor can't do that.
It's so interesting, and that's why it was really weird, I think, for Seawall, because something that I absolutely knew. I mean, I'm sure there were, when we were filming, there were things that I would have done very similar to the way we did it when I was
in the theatre.
When in the theatre.
Yeah.
But what would be interesting would be if I were to do Seawall again, I would now know
what you're doing,
what I did,
and that might not necessarily help.
No, I don't think that would help. I think you'd have to try and sort of forget about it. So I haven't watched Seawall a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's a really interesting thing. But no, I don't think about. I think then that would be a really nice time to, you know, put my hand up or something.
And there's certain, you know, quite a few of the people who are interested in the mindset of Alex.
Yeah.
The mighty Moriarty's Game.
Hey.
Say hello to Ailish.
Hello. Hi, Ailish. How are you? Is Ailish the girl who's watched Seawall a lot?
170 times.
Come on, Ailish.
Now, I'm the parent out of the two of you. Do your coursework. Go and do your coursework.
Come on. Yeah, 170, that is some achievement.
Yeah. One of her questions was about getting into the mindset of Alex, whether it came naturally. There's certain things, like you've not got kids.
No.
So how do you get in? You're not married.
Yeah.
How do you do that as an actor? How do you know what it feels? Do you know what it feels like? Do you know Alex's mindset?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I do. There was a really interesting thing. I think it was that. I don't know who, some brilliant actor, I think it could have been Meryl Streep recently, that said, a great mistake that you make when you're casting something is that you assume that because somebody's life experience, or because somebody doesn't necessarily look like a character, that they're not suitable for a role. Mm. And I think that's why I feel, you know, very grateful to you, because that's something that I absolutely adore kids, and I feel, you know, to have a play that's so much about love sort of really does speak to me, you know. And I think you're in the empathy game, and one has to, so if something is well written and the world is, and because you have expressed your love for your family, possibly.
Yeah, no, completely.
And I can really feel that, and I feel a sort of a kinship with that, and of course I think about my own family and people that I love, but yeah, I think it's I think actors can sometimes move too far away from that. That's what you're supposed to have. Chiefly is an imagination, and I feel that if there's a lot of things that I think that I don't have as an actor, but I think I have a good imagination, and I think that's what I think that's I'm glad that I do.
Because you've also never been a psychopathic killer, as far as I know.
Well,
But you seem to access that pretty easily.
That's the thing, and it's really weird. It's really strange because they, playing a psychopathic killer is so the opposite, because that's about the opposite of love, sort of. And so if you've got an imagination, you can, if you use yourself, and that's maybe why I don't do too much looking at. Too much sort of research. If you use yourself, and how would I be? How would I be if that happened to me? If there's something awful like that happened to me, and try not to act. Or how would I be if I was a psychopathic killer?
Yeah.
And it's not, then and that's why you don't look at too much stuff. In something like Moriarty, that you don't look too far in what you sort of should do, because then I think then it can't be anything but your own. And that's what I think, one's job is.
I think that whole, the notion that what you need to do is you cast the actor, not the character. Which is one of the things which I most respect about Stephen Moffat and all the people who work not only on Sherlock but on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
If you look at the casts of those shows, they are the best actors in Britain.
Yeah.
I mean, every week you got, I think Matt and Arthur are brilliant actors. But not just the regulars in Sherlock and the Doctor, but Toby Jones coming on Doctor Who is just glorious.
Yeah. The fact that you
Michael Gambon.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think actors want. I think that's. I don't know if that's something that you feel like. Do you think of will an actor play this part?
Yeah, constantly. But I mean, we've talked about this. I write for actors.
But you don't write necessarily every character for actors, or do you? Do you have an actor sort of in mind for every?
If I don't have an actor in mind for every character, I find it much more difficult to write.
Do you?
Yeah,
really?
I do. I really do.
Even if it doesn't end up being that actor?
Even if it doesn't end up being that actor, of course, because mostly it's very frustrating, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And actors in the UK are freelance.
Yeah.
It's the kind of defining thing of our profession in this country, is all actors are freelance. So you get actors who, their availability is very difficult to predict.
Yeah.
But in terms of crystallising my imagination, I always write for actors. So I'm writing at the moment. I've got very clear actors in my head for the play I'm writing at the moment. Really specific and clear. I don't want to say who they are because they won't be available, or they'll just hate the play.
And so then do you think...
But then there's a terrible moment. I remember offering you the role of Alex and going to the reading of A Doll's House. The all-male cast of the reading of A Doll's House.
Of course.
And the terror of whether you were going to do it or not.
I remember you coming in and I was like, and it had been in my mind so much, because as you can imagine, when I first read it, I was like, it's a thing where when you have to do a job, because you're like, you're sort of like, you get panicky in case somebody takes it away. You think, can we just get all this sorted, and then you, and so I should explain, we were doing this. I was doing this reading in the Jerwood space, and Simon came to watch it, and I was like, oh my God, there he is. And then it hadn't been fully, I don't know.
There was all kind of things because people wanted you to play lots of different plays in the broken space, and that was complicated.
I remember that very, very clearly, actually, because I remember thinking you'd have to give all your energy to Seawall. But yeah, there's an extraordinary...
Is it a tiring role? Is Alex is it tiring to play?
Yeah, it is tiring. When we did it at the Edinburgh Festival, I found it tiring because we had to do it at 9 in the morning sometimes, and then at 12, and then